Apple's big competitor, Samsung, is battling with it for the smartphone market.
The reason for the problem is that modern smartphones are immensely powerful computers.
The mobile phone manufacturer Samsung has permanently halted production of its latest smartphone.
Samsung is promising to do just that as it bids to repair its damaged reputation.
From just selling noodles, Samsung has expanded into an empire owning everything in the world. There's hardly any product you can think of that the corporation does not produce. While many people might be familiar with Samsung mobile phones and gadgets, there are several other Samsung industries that you probably haven't heard about. How was the company able to achieve this feat? What role did the South Korean government play in the success of Samsung? Stay tuned and keep on watching to find out. The popular Samsung company started out in 1938 in South Korea. It was founded by then 28-year-old Lee Byung-chul, as at this time it was merely Samsung Sangho, a trading company involved in sales of noodles, dried fish, and local vegetables. Lee went on to open Samsung Mulsan in 1948. But this one wasn't as successful as Sangho. Samsung was forced out of business by the Republic Communists. Lee traveled to Busan in the south to recover from his losses and successfully bring Samsung Mulsan back to life. No one ever imagined that the small trading company would grow into something this significant today. Samsung is now involved in the creation of skyscrapers, roads, hospitals, clothes, and a lot more. Although Lee Byung-chul had a humble beginning, he remained focused on building an empire. Lee Byung-chul had big dreams for Samsung. His vision is evident in the name Samsung, which when translated means 3 stars in Korea. The number 3 is a significant figure in Korea. It represents something big and powerful. It also connotes something that will last forever. These attributes have become the trademark of Samsung, and everyone that uses their products can attest to it. However, it wasn't always like this. The company had its own challenges, especially after the Korean War. Samsung was at the verge of shutting down. The Korean War had huge impacts on the whole nation. It led to the shortage of commodities, and Korea had to rely heavily on imports. To meet the needs of the citizens, Lee decided to diversify his business and produce affordable goods for the public. He started selling sugar, manufactured by his refinery. After a while, Lee diversified again by opening a woolen mill, which later grew to become the largest in the country. With his woolen mill functioning efficiently, Lee expanded into the textile industry. His continuous diversification helped the company to survive the harsh times. Lee kept on with this strategy. He would take the profits from one venture and reinvest it into another area. After some time, he opened a department store and started an insurance business. His insurance company did so well that it was well known all over the country. Lee's thriving businesses made him the richest man in Korea. However, his name was also linked to corruption and politics in South Korea. Samsung delved into the production of electronics in 1969. It worked closely with Sanyo to create TVs, refrigerators, air conditioners, and electric fans. Some of its first products were the 12-inch black and white TV. In less than 10 years, Samsung had become a household name when it came to electronics. Its black and white TV was highly sought after because of Samsung's efficient assembly line production. The outstanding result from the manufacturing of electronics motivated them to start producing all kinds of home appliances. At this time, a lot of the components that was used in making Samsung products had to be imported into the country. All the other Korean electronics companies were also facing this dilemma. They were dependent on imports of foreign components and technological know-how. Samsung decided to be different. In 1974, Lee got the highest stake in a government bid to set up its own semiconductor company. It later bought the Korea Semiconductor and renamed it Samsung Semiconductor in 1978. And this went a long way to make their products cheaper. It gave them full control over the supply chain themselves. This semiconductor company became another product line. It was manufacturing chips for its own products and also selling to other electronic companies all around the world. The rival company Apple used to be among the many customers of the Samsung chips. Apple was actively using the Samsung memory chips to make its iPhones. In 1979, Samsung started making microwaves. In 1980, they started producing air conditioners. In 1981, they produced 1 million color TVs. 2 years later, they were making personal computers. By 1980, Samsung Group was now a renowned chaebol in South Korea. It has established a construction company, a petrochemicals division, and a shipbuilding arm supplementing the conglomerate's sugar, paper, and newspaper businesses. While the Samsung Group was expanding into a dominant figure in the Korean economy, Samsung Electronics had gotten better and was releasing more consumer gadgets. Samsung delved into the production of mobile phones in 2000. It began by launching a phone with a built-in camera that could take up to 20 photos at a time. Towards the end of 2000, the company had launched several phones. However, the phone that shot Samsung into the limelight was the Galaxy S series. This was the first brand that used the company's OLED screen technology and Hummingbird processor. Apart from smartphones, the company is also a major producer of tablet computers, especially Android-powered Samsung Galaxy Tab series. Now, the Samsung industries that we have mentioned so far might not be strange to you, but it would really interest you to know the Samsung Heavy Industries, a subsidiary of the Samsung Group, is the world's second-largest shipbuilder. It specializes in making giant ships and is one of the largest mega shipbuilders in the world. There's also another division called Samsung Construction and Trading that makes roads, tunnels, bridges, and buildings. The world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, was built by Samsung. They were also involved in making the previous tallest building in the world. The largest theme park in South Korea, called Everlands, is owned by Samsung. They have successfully built their hotels and have a dedicated area called Samsung Town in Korea. That's not all. Samsung also has non-profit foundations, which includes a university and a hospital called Samsung Medical Center. Samsung Medical Center in South Korea has become the first healthcare provider in the world to reach the highest stage for the Healthcare Information and Management System Society, or HIMSS, infrastructure adoption model. Looking at the massive success of Samsung, one might get the wrong idea that it built everything itself. That's not totally true. The company had help from the government. South Korean government played a key role in the success of the Samsung brand. After the Korean War, the economy of the country was in a bad state. It was neither producing nor exporting goods. To expand the economy, the president set up a structure that would support large Korean businesses by making finance available and also eliminating competition. This meant that Samsung and other major businesses had access to loans, special tax breaks, and several other support measures from the government to help them expand. The goal of the Korean government was to build the economy of the nation by boosting its companies. It also encouraged its citizens to patronize the local goods by banning an importation of similar products into South Korea. The government also reduced taxes by 50% on companies operating in the electronic business. Samsung, being the largest electronics company at that time, benefited greatly from this tax policy. The government basically channeled all the American relief money that it got from the war into Samsung and other electronics companies, and this was what made their growth to be sporadic. Today, Samsung has a major influence on South Korean economy. In 2014, a survey that was carried out revealed that it was contributing about 17% of the nation's GDP. Samsung was a dominating influence over the government, media, and entire country. When Lee Byung-chul died of lung cancer in 1987, he was succeeded by his youngest son, Kun-hee. who installed a new electronics CEO, Yoon Jong-yong, in December 1996. The role of Jong-yong was to ensure that the electronics division was releasing excellent products. Though Samsung has benefited from the government along the way, its rise to the top of the consumer electronics industry has been inspiring. It wouldn't have been possible if Lee had not taken the initiative to diversify. The company displayed tremendous production power, a devotion to speed and efficiency, and the desire to stand out have all contributed to Samsung's domination of nearly every industry it's involved with. Which of these Samsung subsidiaries were you surprised to learn about? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.